Hi everyone, and welcome back to Surviving the Love Bomb. If you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Emma Carrington. I am trained as a community services worker and I am also a victim survivor of domestic abuse. So the disclaimer is that I am not a psychologist or a counsellor. I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. The aim of this channel is to share all that I've learned in my journey through my abusive marriage and coming out the other side on my way to healing. Today we're going to be discussing the most common excuses we make for abusers. Actually, let's start with the excuses abusers make for themselves, because quite often that is where ours stem from. Have you ever heard, "I was just joking"? The old "you're too sensitive, get a sense of humour" line, or "you're overreacting," which is gaslighting and not accepting responsibility. "I was having a bad day." Again, not accepting responsibility for their own actions. "You made me upset." Blame shifting. "It won't happen again," for the 100th time. Empty promises when incidents happen over and over and the apologies keep coming with no change in that behaviour. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Not accepting responsibility. "You deserved it." Shifting that blame. "You know what sets me off." Shifting blame. "You're just as bad as me." Shifting blame and gaslighting. "You know I have an anger problem." Shifting blame. "It didn't happen like that." Gaslighting. "I was drunk, under the influence." Not accepting responsibility. "If you didn't," fill in the blank, "this wouldn't have happened." Blame shifting. All of these things and more are the reasons that victims blame themselves, take responsibility, and make excuses for their abusers. When you hear these things enough, they become your own go-to thoughts. They're not your original thoughts, but after a while you stop having original thoughts, because thinking anything that doesn't align with your abuser only gets you into trouble or makes things worse. So it's best to toe the line. Now on to the excuses we make to justify their behaviour. Number 1, "but he's never hit me." Can we just discuss how low of a bar that is? Please, just for a second, think about it rationally. "He's never hit me" should not be a selling point in your relationship, especially when he's yelled at you, humiliated you, thrown objects at you or near you, which, by the way, is actual physical abuse, threatened you, taken away your car keys and prevented you from leaving, forced or coerced you into having sex, controlled your money, demanded access to read your emails and text, or access them covertly, harmed or threatened to harm a pet. These and more that don't involve outright physical abuse are still tactics of power and control that add up to an abusive relationship. Abuse can be emotional, psychological, verbal, and even financial, as well as physical. No type of abuse is acceptable. So please don't sit there and think, "but he's never hit me." I remember thinking, "I wish he'd hit me so that I had a reason to leave." All those things I just stated are reasons to leave. You don't have to wait. Number 2, it could be worse. If you're telling yourself it's not so bad because you aren't being physically hurt, remember again that emotional abuse often eventually leads to physical abuse. And also remember that the psychological damage that you're being subjected to by being emotionally abused can take far longer to heal than any broken bone. And there's one last thing to consider. Quite often in a relationship involving coercive control, the first act of physical violence is homicide. Number 3, "he just loves me so much and doesn't want to lose me." No. This excuse generally comes as a justification for control. This is shown by over-the-top possessiveness. This may sound romantic, but it's really not. Unfortunately, this is a narrative we've been fed by pop culture in TV and movies. If he loved you, he would trust you, respect you, and give you the space to be yourself. The person that he fell in love with, the person he didn't have to tell, don't wear this or that to, or don't go there, or don't speak to this person. The person he fell in love with. If he loved you, he would never do anything to make you fearful of him. If he didn't want to lose you, he would be kind to you, not threaten to harm you if you left him. If he loved you, he'd get help for his anger issues. If he loved you, he'd let you leave if you felt unsafe. Because of these depictions on screen, many women confuse the feeling of being pursued and having someone want to be their one and only to the exclusion of all others, even family and friends, as love. But in reality, love builds you up as a person. There may be challenges, but it is never abusive or degrading or tragic. Love is not pain and tragedy. Love is not waiting at home alone, wondering which version of your significant other is going to walk through the door tonight. Love is not holding your tongue and walking on eggshells trying to appease your partner. Love makes your life better, not worse. Number 4. He didn't mean it. Everyone makes mistakes and says things they later regret. The question to ask yourself is, was it a mistake or is it a pattern of behaviour? Saying hurtful, negative things and apologizing later can become a cycle of emotional abuse if there's no genuine effort to make a change. This is one we had on the excuses the abuser makes for themselves. They didn't mean it. Whether it's because of a situation or substance abuse, it's not acceptable, and someone who doesn't take responsibility for their actions will never take the steps necessary to change. Number 5. They're not like this all the time. No, they're probably not. That's because abusers rely on intermittent reinforcement to keep their victims invested in and working overtime to receive some positive feedback. Things like flowers after days of the silent treatment, crocodile tears after weeks of brutal insults, an unexpected, extravagant gift after a rage attack, a sudden moment of tenderness after hours of critical remarks. These types of things, or just simply being normal and kind to their victim, forges and reinforces the trauma bond. This sort of intermittent positive reward is a manipulation tactic that causes a biochemical addiction to the relationship, the way people become addicted to playing the pokies, slot machines. It works the same on the negative versus positive. How many times do you remember your losses at the machines? Probably not many, unless it's caused major fallout in your life. But if you've ever won, even a couple of $100s, I bet you can remember the details of that incident a whole lot better. The same happens in an abusive relationship. The fights all blend into one, but the good times stand out. So the victim you're talking to may not even recognize the uneven distribution of pleasure and pain in their relationship. Number 6, no one else will ever fill in the blank. The statement, no one else will ever want me, love me, take on my kids. Yes, they will. It doesn't matter whether this blank is filled in with take care of me, love me the way he does, be able to look past my flaws, or make me feel safe. An emotional abuser may seem like the best at one thing or another, but they are never the best thing for you. The biggest lie abusers of all kinds tell their victims is that no one else will ever. There is only one thing an emotional abuser definitely is, and that is replaceable. There are so many people out there who can and will love you like you deserve to be loved and give you the space and respect to be completely you. Number 7, they have a point. The hard truth here is that some abuse stems from genuine criticism, but it is always twisted. Abusers like to dole out their abuse and package it as constructive criticism. How can you tell the difference between emotional abuse and constructive criticism? Constructive criticism may be hard to hear, but it always comes with a way out, an action you can take to better yourself in some way. Emotional abuse is designed to create a dead end, where you feel trapped, broken, and irreparably flawed. This puts you in a mental state to continue accepting the emotional abuse because you feel that you deserve it. It can be difficult to tell the difference, especially if your emotionally abusive partner picks targets that hold a grain of truth. Just know, constructive criticism doesn't involve an attack, especially a personal attack. A person can disagree with you all the way you do something, but if they start attacking you or your character, this is abuse. Things like, you are an idiot. How stupid are you? With all the weight you've put on, you'll never find anyone else. Constructive criticism rarely ends at the criticism itself. True to its name, it may address a problem in an underlying behaviour, action, or idea, but it is always with the aim of building the person up or constructing a better solution. On the other hand, the emotionally abusive responses are dismissive, designed to put you down, and are just mean at their core. Number 8, it was my fault. I make them crazy. A key tactic of emotional abuse is psychological manipulation, which often means making you think it's your fault, that you are crazy or too much, but constantly blaming you for everything is just another form of emotional abuse. Everyone is responsible for their own actions and responses to things and people. They may have gotten angry, but the way they handled things is on them. Everyone gets angry. But if someone gets angry, gets abusive, and blames you for setting them off, it's time to stop letting them get away with this excuse. Or at least stop taking it on yourself. I know that it's easier said than done, but awareness is the first step, and we just took it together. Emotional abuse, along with other forms of abuse, is sadly way too common, but that doesn't mean it's normal. A healthy relationship does not involve constantly being belittled, manipulated, and controlled. So if anything I've discussed today has given you cause for concern about your own situation or that of a loved one, please reach out for help. There's a list of resources in the description box below. If you're finding this content valuable, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Well, my friends, that's all I have for you today. So until next time, please take care of yourselves and be kind to one another. Bye.